Hello and welcome to Drill and Kill. That's correct, my friend. This is where we drill until we kill all the mistakes. So, without further ado, let's get on to our first problem. And we're off, solving 53,455 divided by 642. As you notice, I got my 6s, 4s, and 2s written down. I also wrote my 7s down because I'm going to estimate up to 700 to solve this, right? When it comes to the estimations. All right, so first thing I want to do is create my area box, and I'm going to put the 53,455 right inside the box. The 642 goes on the outside of the box, and I'm trying to figure out how many times 642 will go into 53,455. First thing, I want to shrink this and move it right over here so I have a little more room. And now I'm going to look at my numbers. 642 will not fit into 5 or 53 or 534, but it will fit into 5,345. So I'm going to add a 0 above here to hold the place value here. So 0 here means I get a 0 here because 0 times 642 will give me 0. So now I'm going to estimate as 700. So I'm going to imagine each of these digits have 2 zeros behind it, and I'm going to try and get as close as possible to 5,345 without going over it. So this would be 700, 1,400, 2,100, 2,800, 3,500, 4,200, 4,900, 5,600 is too much. So I'm going to come back here to 4,900, which means I'm going to multiply by 7. So I'll plug a 7 in right here. So I'm just going to go 7 right there. And now I'm working with the real numbers. So 7 times 2 is going to give me 14. I'm going to drop my 4 and carry my 1. So I drop my 4, carry my 1 right there. Then I go 7 times 4, which is going to give me the 28, right? So I got to add this 1, so that's 29. So then I'm going to drop this 9 and carry the 2 right here. And then I've got 7 times 6, which is going to give me the 42 here. And I've got to add this 2, so that's going to give me 44. And I'm going to just drop the 44 right there. And then before I subtract, I'm going to look for any trouble coming. And I have no trouble here, but I got some trouble coming because I cannot take 4 and subtract 9. So I'm going to borrow from this 3, turn that 3 into a 2, and turn the 4 into 14. Then I have more trouble coming because I cannot take 2 and subtract 4. So I'm going to borrow from this 5 and take a group of 10 and put it here to make this 2 a 12. So that's 12 right there and 14 right there, and I am good to go. So I'm going to shrink this a little bit, add my next area box, and start to rock and roll. So here we go. 5 minus 0 will give me 5. 5 minus 4 will give me 1. 14 minus 9 is going to give me 5. And this is 12 here, right? Minus 4 is going to give me 8. And then 4 minus 4 zeroes out, so I am all done. So well, not really, because I still got more to go here, right? But I'm done with this area box, the subtraction of it. So now I'm looking at 642, and it will fit into 851, right? So I'm still in this same column here because I can fit one more group in there. So I'm going to add the 0 to hold the place value, and that means I get a 0 here because 0 times 642 gives me 0 here. And then I'm going to plug a 1 right in there because I know it'll fit in there one more time, which will give me 642. And now I'm going to subtract yet again. Before I do, checking for trouble coming. I got none here. I have trouble coming right here. So I'm going to borrow from that 5, turn it into a 4, turn that 1 into 11. And now I'm good to go here, good to go here, and good to go here. So I'll add my next area box in and start my subtraction. 5 minus 0 is going to give me 5. 11 minus 2 is going to give me 9. 4 minus 4 zeroes out. And 8 minus 6 will give me 2 right there. Superb. So now I'm going to shrink this so I can look here again. And 642 now cannot fit into 209. So I'm working all the way over here in the ones column. And I'm trying to figure out how many times 642 will go into 2095. Once again, I'm going to use my 700 as my estimation. So I'm going to go 700, 1,400, 2,100, which is a little bit too much, but you know what? I'm going to be willing to guess that I'm going to do 2 here, and then I'm going to have to add another one because it probably will go in 3 times. But going by my estimation, I'm going to only go by 2 here, so I'm going to multiply by 2. So I'll plug a 2 right there, and we'll see what happens here. So 2 times 2 is going to give me 4, right? So I'll drop my 4 right there. And then 2 times 4 is going to give me 8, so I'll drop an 8 right there. And then I've got 2 times 6, which is going to give me the 12, so I'll drop the 12 right there. And bam, now I'm ready to subtract. So before I do, I always like to look for trouble coming. I got no trouble, no trouble. Oh, I got a little bit of trouble. So I'm going to borrow from here, turn that into a 1, turn that into 10, and now I am good to go. So I will add another area box. And I get 5 minus 4 is going to give me 1. 9 minus 8 is going to give me 1 as well. And then 10 minus 2 is going to give me 8. And now, 1 minus 1 zeroes out. So now let's go ahead and look. And if you see here, 642, as I had estimated or guessed, will fit in here one more time. And that is because when I used my estimation of 700, this is really 600. I really could have gone one more time. So I'm going to add another 1 right here. And then 1 times 642 will give me 642 down here. And let's just go ahead and write that, 642. And then I'm going to subtract, but before I do, I look for trouble coming. I've got it right away. So I'm going to borrow from here, turn that into a 0, and turn that into 11. And then I've got trouble, obviously, because I cannot take nothing and subtract 4 from it. So I'm going to borrow from this 8, turn that into a 7, and turn that into 10. And now I am good to go. So I will add my next area box and plug it in right here. And then I get 11 minus 2 is going to give me 9. 10 minus 4 will give me 6. And 7 minus 6 will give me 1. And if you notice here, the 169 is smaller than our 642, so that is my remainder, right? And perfect, that means I'm all done other than adding this up. I'm going to get rid of that so we have a little more room. And bam, it's gone. Super. Let's add this up. Remember, we're just adding up like this. I get 0, 0, 2, and 1 is going to give me 3 right here. And then right here I've got 7 and 1, which will give me 8. Then I got to plug in my remainder of 169 from right down here. And there you have it. Your answer, my friends, is for 53,455 divided by 642 equals 83 with a remainder of 169. Hey, just like always, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all. Simply pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. Actually, next time is in about 2 seconds. And here we go. 37,879 divided by 837. And as you see, I wrote my 8s, 3s, 7s, and then I also wrote my 9s because I'm going to estimate this up to 900. So the very first thing I want to do is go ahead and create my area box right here. And then I'm going to plug in the 37,879 right inside the box and the 837 on the outside of the area box. Now I am trying to figure out how many times 837 will go into 37,879. So, first of all, let's shrink this and move it over here so it's out of the way. And then 837 will not fit into 3 or 37 or 378, but it will fit into 3,787, which means I need to get a place value holder for this ones column. So I'm going to multiply by 0 right here, and 0 times 837 will give me a 0 here and just holds that place value for me. So now I'm going to round this off to 900, right? And because I always like to bump up, and then I'm going to use my 9s, and each of these I'm going to imagine that each of these digits has 2 zeros behind it, and we're looking for 3,787 without going over it. So I got 900, 1,800, 2,700, then I have 3,600, then 4,500, which is too much. So I'm going to come back here and multiply by 4. So I'm going to plug a 4 right there, and bam, there you have it. So now I'm working with the real numbers here. 4 times 7, I'm going to come right across, and I get 28. So I'm going to drop my 8 and carry my 2, drop the 8, carry the 2. Then I've got 4 times 3, which is going to give me 12, plus 2 is going to give me 14. So I'm going to drop my 4 and carry my 1. And then I've got 4 times 8, which is going to give me 32, plus this 1 will give me 33. So I've got 33 right there. And now I'm ready to subtract, but before I do, I got to look for any trouble coming. And right here, no trouble. Right here, oop, a little bit of trouble. So I'm going to borrow from here, turn that into 7, turn that into 17. Then I got no trouble here, no trouble here, so I am good to go. I will add my next area box. And 9 minus 0 will give me 9. And 17 minus 8 will also give me 9 right here. 7 minus 4 will give me 3. 7 minus 3 will give me 4. And 3 minus 3 zeroes out, so I am good to go. So now I'm looking at the 837, and it will not fit into 439. So I'm working with the whole problem, and I'm over here in the ones column, and I'm trying to see how many times it will go into 4,399. So once again, I'm going to use my 900 as my estimation, and then this would be 900, 1,800, 2,700, 3,600, and then 4,500, which is too much once again. So I'm going to come back here and multiply by 4 again. So I'll plug a 4 in right here. Now the cool thing here is I've already multiplied by 4, and actually this time I multiplied by 40, and I got 33,480. Without this 0, I would have gotten 3,348. So I'm going to just plug that in right there because I know that it's the same number, right, without the 0. So I got 3,348 right there. And let's then look for trouble coming before we subtract. And I have no trouble here, no trouble here, no trouble here, and none here. So I am good to go. Let's make our next area box. And 9 minus 8 is going to give me 1. 9 minus 4 is going to give me 5 right there. 3 minus 3 is going to zero out, right? And then 4 minus 3 is going to give me 1. And bam, there you have it. So now I'm going to come back up here, and I can see that 837 will fit in here one more time. So I'm going to add another 1 right above that 4. And then 1 times 837 will give me 837. So 837, and now I'm ready to subtract. But before I do, I check for trouble coming. I've got no trouble here. Wait a minute. That's a lot of trouble, isn't it? I got plenty of trouble there. So I'm going to enlarge this and borrow from that 5, turn it into a 4, borrow a group of 10 here, and now I'm good to go. 4 minus 3 is no problem at all. 0 minus 8 is trouble, but I can just count this as 10, and then I've got no trouble. So let's go ahead and subtract. We'll make our next area box, and we're ready to go. And 11 minus 7 is going to give me 4 right here. 4 minus 3 is going to give me 1 right there. And then 10 minus 8 will give me 2 right here. And if you notice, the 214 is smaller than the 837, so that is my remainder, right? And lovely, because that means we're really about done. I'm going to get rid of this so we have room. And let's just add this straight up this way. And I get 4 plus 1 is going to give me 5 right here. And then 4 and nothing will give me a 4 right there. And then I got to plug my remainder, which is 214 from right down here, right? So your answer to 37,879 divided by 837 equals 45 with a remainder of 214. That, my friends, is your answer. Hey, if you made a mistake anywhere along the way, no worries at all. Pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. Let's move on to problem number 3. And here we are, 83,963 divided by 473. I've written my 4s, 7s, and 3s, and then I also wrote my 5s down because I'm going to estimate this up to 500 when I'm trying to figure out how many times it will go into this number here. So without further ado, let's get started with our first area box. Then I'm going to plug the 83,963 right inside that box. I'm going to take the 473 and put it on the outside of the box right here. Next, I'm going to take all this, shrink it, and put it on the side so that I have room to work. And here we go. 473 going into 83,963. And 473 will not fit into 8 or 83, but it will fit into 839. Now, I'm going to use my estimation of 500 to figure out how many times this will go in here. But before I do, since this is 3 digits, these are 3 digits, I need place value holders for the 10s and the 1s digits. So I'm going to put 2 zeros right here, 0 and 0, and that's going to give me 2 zeros down here because 0 times 473 is 0, and 0 times 473 is 0. Now I'm looking at the 500, and you got to imagine that these 2 zeros are behind each of these digits here. So I got 500, then 1,000, which would be too much here. So I'm going to plug a 1 here, and then I know that 1 times 473 will give me 473 here. 473 right there. And now I'm ready to subtract, but before I do, I look for any trouble coming. I have no trouble in either of these. I have no trouble here. I do have trouble coming here because it could not take 3 and subtract 7. So I'm going to enlarge this, and I'm going to borrow from this 8, turn that 8 into 7, and turn this 3 into 13. And now I am good to go. So I will add my next area box, and I'll plug that in right there. And 3 minus 0 will give me 3. 6 minus 0 gives me 6. 9 minus 3 is going to give me 6 as well. Then I've got 13 minus 7, which is going to give me 6. And then I've got 7 minus 4, which is going to give me 3. And perfect. So now I want to shrink this and see, can 473 fit into 3? No. 36? No. 366? No, it cannot. But it can fit into 3,666. So I'm working in this column right now, which means I need a place value holder for the 1s column. So I'm going to add a 0 here, which will give me a 0 right here, because 0 times 473 equals 0. Now I'm trying to figure out how many times 473 will go into 3,666. I'm using 500 as my estimation, so I've got 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, 4,000, which is too much. So I'm going to come back here to 3,500, which means I'm going to multiply by 7. So I'm going to plug a 7 right there. Bam, there you have it. Now I'm working with the real numbers. 7 times 3 is going to give me 21. I'm going to drop the 1 and carry the 2. Drop the 1 and carry the 2. Then 7 times 7 is going to give me 49. Plus 2 will give me 51. So I'm going to drop the 1 and carry the 5 right here. Then I've got 7 times 4, which is going to give me 28. Plus 5 is going to give me 33. So I'm going to drop a 3 and a 3, and I'm good to subtract. But before I do, I always look for trouble coming. I got none, 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 and none. So that means let's go ahead and do our next area box. And I'll plug that there. 0 minus 3 is going to give me 3. Whoops, backwards, flip that around. 3 minus 0 will give me 3. I'm going crazy on you guys. 6 minus 1 is going to give me 5. 6 minus 1 is 5. And 6 minus 3 is going to give me 3. And 3 minus 3 zeroes out. So now I am looking at the 473, and it will not fit into 355, so I'm all the way over here to the ones column working with 3,553. So let's go ahead and use the 500 as our estimation, and we're going to just go 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, 3,000, 3,500, and 4,000 is too much. So I'm back here. That is 7 once again. So I'm going to plug a 7 in here, and bam, there you have it. Now, once again, this is kind of cool because I just did 70 times 473, and that gave me 33,110, right? If that 0 wasn't there, then this 0 wouldn't be here either. So I know that 7 times 473 will give me the 3,311. So I'll plug that in, 3,311 right there, and then I'm good to subtract. Before I do, I always like to look for trouble coming. I got no trouble, no trouble, no trouble, and none at all. So let's go ahead and make our next area box, and I get 3 minus 1 is going to give me 2. 5 minus 1 will give me 4. 5 minus 3 will give me 2. And 3 minus 3 zeroes out. So let's go ahead and look here, and you can see that the 242 is smaller than the 473. So this is my remainder. That's a D. And so all I have to do is add all these up and then plug in my remainder. So let's go ahead and do that. Before I do, I want to get rid of each of these, right? And here we go. I'm going to draw my line, and I'm adding up like this, right? So I get 7, another 7 here in the tens column, and the 1 that I bring right on up, right? And then I got to plug my remainder in, which is 242. And therefore, you have your answer to 83,963 divided by 473 equals 177 with a remainder of 242 left over. That, my friends, is how you solve this problem. If you make a mistake, as always, pause the video, fix your mistake. That is the fastest way to learn. And now let's move on to our fourth and final problem of this video. And here we go. 21,721 divided by 361. So as you see, I got my 3's and my 6's. I didn't need to do my 1's. And then I also did my 4's because I'm going to estimate up to 400 when figuring out how many times this number will go into this number. So first thing I want to do is create my area box. I'm going to make a little more room, and bam, there we have it. So now I'm going to put the 21,721 right inside the box and the 361 on the outside of the box. Shrink that and move it over here so I have a little more room. And off we go. So now 361 going into 21,721. It will not fit into 2. It will not fit into 21. It will not fit into 217, but it will fit into 2,172. So I'm going to get a place value holder above this ones column by putting a 0 here, which will give me a 0 here, because 0 times 361 equals 0. So now I'm going to estimate this as 400, and I'm going to look up here at these digits and imagine that each of them has 2 zeros behind it, and I'm going to try to not go over 2,172. So I've got 400, 800, 1,200, 1,600, 2,000, 2,400, which is too much. So I'm going to come back here, which means I'm going to multiply by 5. So I'm going to plug a 5 right here, and then 5 times 1 is going to give me a 5 right there. Then 5 times 6 is going to give me 30 right here. So I'm going to drop that 0 and carry the 3 right there. And then 5 times 3 is going to give me 15, plus 3 is going to give me 18. So I'm going to drop the 18 like that and get ready to subtract. But before I do, I'm going to look for any trouble coming. I got no trouble here, but I got some trouble. So I'm going to borrow from this 7, turn it into a 6, turn that 2 into 12. Then I got no more trouble. No trouble here. I do have trouble coming here, so I'm going to borrow from this 2, turn it into a 1, and turn that 1 into 11. And now I'm good to go and good to go. So let's go ahead and make our next area box. And now I am going to subtract. 1 minus 0 is going to give me 1. 12 minus 5 is going to give me 7. 6 minus 0 is 6. And then 11 minus 8 is 3. And 1 minus 1 zeroes out. So let's go ahead and look at where we're at. Now if you notice, I got 361 and I've got 367 here. It will fit in there one more time, right? So I'm going to hold this place value once again with another 0, which means I get a 0 here, because 0 times 361 is 0. And then I'm going to plug a 1 right here. And then 1 times 361 is going to give me 361. So 361. And bam, now I am good to go. Before I do, I've got to check for trouble coming. I got no trouble, none at all, none at all. And that means I'm good to go, my friends. So I'm going to add this next area box in. And then I'm going to just make this a little bigger so I have a little more room to work. 1 minus 0 will give me 1. 7 minus 1 will give me 6. And this zeroes out, and so does this. So I'm all done. And if I look here, 61 is smaller than 361. So that becomes my remainder, right? Now, let's just add these up, right? So I'm just going to add this up. And if you notice, I've got zeros, and then 5 and 1 is going to give me 6. So this is 60 with my remainder of 61. And that, my friends, is how you solve this problem. So 21,721 divided by 361 equals 60 with a remainder of 61 left over. So if you made a mistake at all, no worries at all. Simply pause the video, fix the mistake. That is your fastest way to learn. Hey, until next time, I hope you have a fantastic day. I'll see you soon. Now to drill and kill counting by the numbers. Hey, if you already know all your counting by the numbers and you can do them all by heart, then you can stop the video right now and move on to the next problem. However, if you don't, let's drill and kill until we know them all. And now, on to counting by the numbers. This is a great strategy for anybody who does not have all their multiplication facts memorized. Counting by threes. Ready? Here we go. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, 30. Counting by fours. Ready? And 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32, 36, 40. Counting by sixes. Here we go. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 42, 48, 54, 60. Counting by sevens, here we go. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, 56, 63, 70. And counting by eights, here we go. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, 72, 80. Counting by nines, here we go. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90. 9, 18, 27, 36, 45, 54, 63, 72, 81, 90.